society and the importance of Tasawwuf in the 21st century. Dr. Zayan, Arish, thank you to the Majlis-e-Arzan Shahi for giving me this opportunity to present my views on Indian society and the importance of Tasawwuf in the 21st century. The understanding of Tasawwuf in the relief of mainstream political Muslim discourse has changed significantly in the past 2 decades of this century. And this has been taken cognizance of by the socio-political fraternity globally. In 2003, Saudi Arabia, post the 9/11 attacks, removed the ban on the Mawlid, a celebration of the birth and life of the Prophet. This was followed by a very significant incident in Saudi Arabia. Salman al-Uda, the country's most popular puritanical clerk, who was jailed in 1990s for opposing the presence of US troops in the kingdom, accepted an invitation to visit Sufi cleric Abdullah Fadaq's Mawlid and listen. In 2006, Saudi Arabia has since then changed the status of Sufi beliefs and believers and recognized their status as Muslims with a different way of understanding Islam. This change and inclusivity was initiated because ultra-conservative Muslim ideology was establishing its influence and raising a challenge to mainstream political Muslim establishments in the Middle East. The Saudi establishment's realization that amongst the diverse streams of thought within Muslims, it is detrimental to give preference to one over another. This has created the grounds for the birth of ultra-conservatism. The hard lessons learned from the decisions to give preference to some over others after the armed takeover of the Mecca Mosque in 1979 and its subsequent fallout of 9/11 has culminated in this rethink. In the global context, theological ultra-conservatives have challenged traditional Islamic faith-related practices. ISIS, Islamic State of Iraq and Levant, members have declared, if Allah wills, we will kill those who worship stones in Mecca and destroy the Kaaba. People go to Mecca to touch the stones, not for Allah. Quote close. The growth of this degree of extreme exclusive understanding stands in stark contrast with the Sufi understanding of inclusivity of thought, ideas and beliefs beyond their religious categorizations. In this context to the Indian subcontinental society, the following quote of Swami Vivekananda is relevant. He writes in a letter to his Muslim friend, "Our experience is that if ever the followers of any religion approach to this equality in an appreciable degree in the plane of practical work, it is those of Islam and Islam alone. Therefore, we must firmly persuade that without the help of practical Islam, theories of Vedantism are entirely valueless to the vast mass of mankind. Mankind ought to be taught that religions are but the varied expression of the religion which is oneness, so that each may choose the path that suits him. For our own motherland, a junction of the two great systems, Hinduism and Islam, is the only hope." Close quote. A vivid picture of inclusive syncretic practice can be appreciated by the obituary of Ramakrishna Paramahansa published in the Bengali organ of Navavidhan Brahmo Samaj Dharma Tattva in its issue dated 31st August 1886. I read for you. Some prominent Brahmos of Navavidhan followed the funeral bier the burning place. In front of the procession were carried the insigns of the Trident and Omkar of Hinduism, the wheel of Buddhism, the crescent of Islam, and the cross of Christianity. In the same issue, in respect to Ramakrishna Paramahansa, it was mentioned that Ramakrishna Paramahansa, sometimes dressed as a Mohammedan, he ate onion and recited the name of Allah. Sometimes he impersonated as Hanuman, complete with an artificial tail, and recited the name of Rama. The Sufi impact on the political life of the Indian subcontinent is exceptionally relevant till today. Dr. Muhammad Amin writes, the spiritually advanced Sufis of India presented a revolutionary idea of Islam, bringing it out from the circle of mere observance of ritual and rigid dogma and taking it to the field of public service and social reform. They made Tasawwuf, or Islamic mysticism, a people's movement by opening the gates of their khanqahs to one and all. They preached and practiced social equality, providing comfort and solace to the needy and upholding human values. The neglected, escaping from social injustices at the hands of their own higher-ups, enjoyed a sense of pride and freedom in the new ambience. I quote for you Sheikh Abdul Quddus Gambo, who wrote in the 16th century, why this meaningless talk about the believer, the kafir, the obedient, the sinner, the rightly guided, the misdirected, the Muslim, the pious, the infidel, the fire worshipper, all are beads in a rosary. In the context of the subcontinent, we have to understand that if we search for Tasawwuf, maybe we will find a reflection of it in the constitutions of the subcontinent. Ghulam Ahmad Parvez was an Islamic scholar and student of Sufi thought and a seminal contributor to the idea of what Pakistan should be. Parvez insisted that Muslims should spend more time studying the modern sciences instead of wasting their energies in fighting out ancient sectarian conflicts or ignoring the true egalitarian and enlightening spirit of the religion by indulging in multiple rituals handed down to them. Understandably, Parvez was right away attacked by conservative scholars and political outfits. But this did not stop famous Muslim philosopher and poet Muhammad Iqbal to befriend the young scholar and then introduce him to the future founder of Pakistan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Jinnah appointed Parvez to edit a magazine, Tulu-e-Islam. It was set up to propagate the creation of a separate Muslim country. In a series of essays for the magazine, he used verses from the Quran, incidences from the faith's history and insights from the writings of Muhammad Iqbal to claim the clergy and conservative leadership have hijacked the religion. They are agents of the rich people and promoters of uncontrolled capitalism. Socialism best enforces religious dictums on property, justice and distribution of wealth. Islam's main mission was the eradication of all injustices and cruelties from society. It was a socio-political movement and the Prophet was a leader seeking to put an end to the capitalist exploitation of the Quraysh merchants and the corrupt bureaucracy of the Byzantium and Persia. A socialist path is a correction of the medieval distortion of Islam. Parvez joined the government after the creation of Pakistan in 1947. But after Jinnah's death in 1948, he was sidelined and resigned from his post in 1956. Dr. Khalifa Abdul Hakim was a keen student of Islam, especially Sufism. Khalifa, after getting his PhD from the Heidelberg University of Germany, authored a number of books on Iqbal's philosophy, Islamic thought, Jalaluddin Rumi, Sufi poet and writer, and also translated the Hindu holy book, the Bhagavad Gita, into Urdu. Like most Islamic socialists of his era, Khalifa too was basically explaining Islamic socialism to be kind of spiritual and theistic concept of the social democratic welfare state. Parvez and Khalifa quite clearly suggest that an Islamic socialist society run on the laws derived from the rational interpretations of the Quran and modern scientific thought would inherently become responsible, law-abiding, egalitarian and enlightened, and would not require the state to play a role of a moral guide. There is an element of Tasawwuf there, that the state will not play a role to guide. In other words, Islamic socialist policies guarantee a progressive and non-theocratic Muslim majority state where the citizens are enlightened enough to make their own moral choices, and where the state sticks to looking after the citizens' economic interests and needs and delivering justice. I quote for you from the Constitution of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. In the preamble of the Constitution of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan is written, wherein adequate provision shall be made for the minorities freely to profess and practice their religions and develop their cultures. It is also written in the preamble, wherein shall be guaranteed fundamental rights, including equality of status, of opportunity, and before law, social, economic and political justice, and freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, worship and association subject to law and public morality. And what is most interesting is that the Constitution of Pakistan in Article 3, which follows Article 2, and Article 2 says that Islam shall be the state religion of Pakistan. In Article 3, the Constitution of Pakistan states, the state shall ensure the elimination of all forms of exploitation and the gradual fulfillment of the fundamental principle from each according to his ability, to each according to his work, which is the defining principle of socialism, gets the status of Article 3 in the Constitution of Pakistan. I quote a small portion of the preamble of the Constitution of Bangladesh, Constitution of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Further pledging that it shall be a fundamental aim of the state to realize through the democratic process to socialist society free from exploitation, a society in which the rule of law, fundamental human rights and freedom, equality and justice, political, economic and social will be secured for all citizens. This element of understanding that everybody is equal is something that is been fraught with intense debates before Pakistan and Bangladesh concluded their constitution, and the people who contributed to this conclusion were people like Maulana Azad in India and the equivalent people in Pakistan and Bangladesh. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, one of the leading political personalities involved in the Indian independence movement, compared himself to Sufi Sarma for his freedom of thought and expression. The great Sufi Sarma that I mentioned earlier was intimate with Dara Shikoh and was persecuted and sentenced to death by Emperor Aurangzeb. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, along with the likes of Hazrat Mohani, laid the foundation of the Constitution of India. Their commitment to composite nationalism and a secular understanding of India's future remains undisputed in letter and action. India in the 21st century stands at the doorstep that Maulana Abul Kalam Azad stood at on 23rd October 1947 and said, Allah has made the whole world a mosque, and so the question of pure, part and impure land does not arise. It was the mosque where on the 4th of April 1990 that Swami Shraddhanand, a staunch Arya Samajist, dressed in saffron robes, addressed the people gathering therein, asking them to unite and saying that the need of the hour was Hindu-Muslim unity against the common enemy, the British. He started his speech with a Vedic mantra to which the congregation in the mosque replied, Ameen. At the same time, Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu, a Muslim, was given the keys to the Sikh shrine of the Golden Temple at Amritsar. And we all know that the Golden Temple in Amritsar, the foundation stone was laid by Mian Mir, the famous Sufi. The Constitution of India and the preamble is known to you. The challenge of this two-day seminar is to establish the relevance of this most essential social human value of inclusivity expressed ideologically in reason, understanding, practice and character of the fabric of the society that follows from the great minds that accepted people as they were. I leave you with the words of an individual who enshrined all of the above basic qualities of a modern Indian expressing Tasawwuf in the following eloquent lines of Hazrat Mohani. Darweshi o inqilab maslak hai mera, Sufi momin hu istirahi muslim. Shukriya.